course, during the war, you didn't have to take exams. You didn't have to show your capabilities or abilities as a maybe a company commander, which you would be if you made captain, and so on. So we were not very new. We had done a lot of work before in the Caribbean, and that's where I'll start. We were in Guantanamo Bay, and we were pulled out of there and going to an unknown destination in the Pacific, which turned out to be Wake Island. We're the Wake Island Reinforcing Detachment. And we got to Pearl Harbor either on the 30th of November or the 1st of December. I know we were there on the 1st of December because the first thing we did as officers, we joined the Officers Club. And I still have my card.
Smart
Hope it's still good. As we came into the harbor, a captain who was what we call a Shanghai Marine looked at these beautiful battleships laid up in a row there, and he said, you know, that'd be a hell of a duck shoot if you were an enemy. And I never heard more prophetic words in my life. And there was a duck shoot, and I did see him hit our battle wagons and so on. So anyway, to get to the first, in the morning of December 7th, we were a battalion of about 800, 900 people. Yes, battalion. And there was no place inside for us, so we had to pitch tents at the main gate. Used to be a sugarcane field there. When I went back there many years later, it's all apartments or whatever. And so we pitched our tents, and say 2 lieutenants to a tent, and so on and so on and so on. And when we had all that noise in the morning, especially having closed up the Officers Club the night before, it was irritating at least. So we got out there and got in our shorts and looked up, and we saw all these planes diving and so on. And our only comment was, it's a hell of a time for the Army Air Force to have a maneuver on a Sunday morning. Instead of going to church, they're out here flying their pants off and waking us up. It took about 15, 20 minutes, half hour, maybe, I don't know how long, before the message came through loud and clear. This is not a training exercise. It's the Japanese have attacked us. At that time, things happened, and being at the main command post, which was the main gate there, I was assigned there with a captain, and which was the worst thing in the world, because if you're the lieutenant, there's a captain there, you do all the dirty work. That's a ritual, as you know, with all the services. So it turned out that they needed machine guns to prevent the Japs from attacking the fuel farm. And as the captain here knows, the fuel farm is a very important thing, and I think the biggest mistake the Japs made were not attacking the fuel farm, because it gave us a chance to replenish our fleet from Pearl instead of coming back to the United States, the war would have been much longer, I think, if they had attacked the fuel farm. So we put machine guns around the fuel farm. We took machine guns over to Hickam Field because the Air Force Army Air Force had no protection around Hickam Field at all. And we even had a request from an Army anti-aircraft union to provide guards for them. And of course, we had a few caustic comments about what they should do. Wish them the best of luck. That's about all. And as it went on that night, not that night, next night, there were a lot of nights there. They're all sort of welded into one for me, I guess. We got the word down to command post that there was a skirmish going on. Nobody knew what it was. And it was being at the edge of the fuel farm. The fuel farm had a road going by, and in retrospect to how they told us later, and the Army had a machine gun mounted on the cab of a pickup truck, and it came by there, and the sailors with their rifles, that's one of the things that always scares me, a sailor with a rifle. Sorry about that. But the sailors with their rifles thought this was the Japanese attacking, and so they started to shoot at him. Of course, the people in the pickup truck thought the Japanese had taken over the fuel farm, and they shot back. And the Marines were in the middle to go into any direction where they were needed, came out and helped the sailors. It was kind of a little skirmish, I would say. So the word came down to the command post, say, go up and stop that nonsense. So the captain says, Dick, go up and stop that nonsense. I don't know if you ever tried to get involved in a firefight, but it's not easy to stop it or to contain it.
No whistle you can blow.
Beg pardon?
There's no whistle you can blow.
No whistles, no nothing, no orders. And so I got one of the sergeants there, my first sergeant, and I said, okay, Let's go, Philpott. Thank you. I talk too loud. Like Louis Puller said when he talked to us, he'd say, "Okay, you guys in the back, if you can't hear me, raise your hands," and all the hands went up. That's the way I feel. Anyway, so I got the sergeant, and we each grabbed a rifle. We had 45s, we grabbed rifles, and we went up to the fuel farm edge where the skirmish was. We got pinned down by obviously a Navy guy, or maybe a Marine, I don't know. And we were pinned down for a little while, and I finally said it was getting dusk. So I gave the first sergeant my flashlight, and I said, "Sergeant, go out there 10 feet, and I'll drill the bastard that's shooting at us." He said, "Lieutenant, you take the flashlight and I'll drill him." The skirmish went on because no one had more than 5 rounds. At least we never gave the Navy more than 5 rounds. So they ran out of ammunition, everything was all over them. And we got the credit for stopping us fight. All we did was lay on our stomachs and waited. Okay, that was that. And there were many things like that happened for the next day or two. Like in one case, I stopped a guy who was firing. I said, "What are you shooting at?" He says, "I don't know." Well, I said, "Why are you shooting?" "Well, everybody else is shooting." That was a kind of a mentality we had there. And when the American planes, I think they were V-17s, came in at one night, and I think everybody that had a gun opened up, including people with 45s were shooting at them. And it was kind of a bright night that night. I mean, from machine gun fire and so on, not from the stars.
These were our own planes coming in after the attack, and of course everybody was still gun shy, and we shot down our own planes.
You didn't want to move at night because you're enemy, regardless of who you were, what you were. In fact, we had one sailor killed another sailor. They came in on a boat. He came up jumped on a pier. When he jumped up there, he scared the hell out of the sailor up there with a rifle. The sailor turned around and shot him dead, right there. Probably the only shot he ever fired in his life. Very accurate, though. So things sort of settled down after a while. And we were supposed to be in Wake Island. We missed Wake Island by about 2 weeks because Navy got the shipping. They won the shipping we were on, so we had to get off at Frisco and wait there for 2 weeks. That's why we were late. And they tried to get us to reinforce Wake. That was impossible. Wake had gone by then, just about. And from then on, we just went to different islands. We were separated, went to wherever there was. There's someone here, I think you talked about things you stole. Well, we stole, but after a while, there was nothing to steal from the Japanese. This was the second part of the war. So we stole MacArthur's laundry, and I had the cleanest outfit in the Pacific. And that was 4 bottles of booze. We managed to somehow really get some old granddad, and there's 4 bottles of water, so a lot. And another thing, we stole an Army theater one day. Army group moved out on Guam, and before the other one came in, my guys had the theater resorted, repainted, and the Army colonel came up and asked if he could have his people in our theater. I said, "Absolutely. We'd like to share." The rest of it, how was Pearl Harbor? If you saw the movie Pearl Harbor, it was not overplayed as far as the ships were concerned, and the harbor itself. It was a kind of a very tragic experience. People were swimming and water was on fire. And I know one guy came out of there and he was kind of blackened and so on, and all he wanted to do was to have us shoot him. He was in pain, acute pain, and so things were kind of messed up. We survived, and here I am. Thank you.